Hey everyone, and welcome back. If you love stories that tug at your heartstrings and uncover hidden truths, make sure to hit that subscribe button, follow for more, and drop a comment below. It truly helps me bring more tales to life. Now, imagine a melody, one so mournful it could break your heart, yet so familiar it becomes a part of your very soul. What if that melody wasn't just music, but a secret language, whispering of a love forbidden, a life sacrificed, and a hidden heartbreak that echoed through generations? Today, we unravel the piano's untold melody, a story of an old piano, a grandmother's haunting tune, and the devastating truth it held captive for decades. The emotional roller coaster. A Part 1. The echo of grief and a familiar tune, a haunting presence. The old house felt hollow, a cavern echoing with the unbearable silence of Grandma Elara's recent absence. It was a profound, aching void where her gentle, yet strangely guarded, presence once lingered, permeating every corner, clinging to the antique furniture and fading floral wallpaper, each speck of dust a tiny, unsettled memory. I, her grandson, a musician navigating the uncertain, often turbulent currents of my own burgeoning career, frequently feeling lost in its unpredictable rhythm and the demands it placed on my soul, found myself drawn instinctively, almost compulsively, to her dusty, upright piano in the quiet, sun-dappled parlor. It stood there, a silent sentinel, a magnificent relic of a bygone era. Its keys, worn smooth and shiny by decades of her diligent, precise touch, felt cold and strangely alien beneath my fingertips, each one a stark, tangible reminder of countless hours she'd spent here, lost in her own secluded world of music, a world I now, more than ever, yearned to truly understand, to step into. That one melody, the very same haunting sequence of notes she'd play almost every single day, without fail, a ritual, soft and sorrowful, yet fiercely private and guarded, was all I could hear in my mind. It was a constant, melancholic hum that twisted itself around my heart, a melody without a name, a mystery begging to be solved, a puzzle piece conspicuously missing from our otherwise well-documented family's narrative. "Grandma, where did you learn that song?" I'd asked countless times over the years, my young, innocent curiosity brimming with eager questions, always met with the same elusive, almost pained smile and a gentle shake of her head. A silent dismissal I never truly questioned then, accepting her quiet nature as just who she was. She'd only ever smile wistfully, a profound shadow passing over her eyes, a fleeting, almost imperceptible sadness that I, in my youthful naivete, had never fully understood, merely dismissed as part of her quiet, elderly nature, a quaint eccentricity of old age. "It's just an old tune, dear," she'd murmur, her voice soft as a sigh, barely audible, as if the words themselves carried a great, unspoken weight, a burden on her breath. "Nothing special, nothing for you to worry about, just a song I know from long ago, a simple memory." A profound somberness, a quiet reflection deeply touched by my fresh, aching grief, hung heavy in the air around me, thick and palpable, a shroud of unspoken sorrow that seemed to emanate from the very wood of the piano itself, its silent suffering. It was slowly, inexorably building a sense of unanswered questions that gnawed relentlessly at my subconscious, refusing to be silenced, demanding explanation, a truth lurking just beneath the surface, waiting impatiently to reveal itself, to burst forth. I'd always felt a profound disconnect, a subtle, almost jarring disharmony between her quiet, almost resigned demeanor in her later life, her gentle acceptance of mundane existence, her unwavering composure, and the vibrant, passionate spark I instinctively knew she must have possessed in her youth, a stark contrast that had always subtly puzzled and deeply intrigued me, whispering of a far deeper, more complex story hidden beneath her calm exterior. The house itself seemed to hold its breath around me, almost palpably, its old timbers groaning faintly, settling into a profound silence, as if waiting patiently for me to unlock its deeply held secrets, its very walls whispering faint, untold stories of its past, urging me to listen closer, to delve beneath the surface of what was apparent, to unearth the hidden layers of her life. Part 2, A Glimmer of Hope, The Hidden Compartment. Days blurred into weeks, each one blending into the next in a hazy, grief-stricken blur of mundane tasks and lingering sorrow. The world outside moving on with indifferent speed, while mine felt frozen in a timeless, aching space, anchored by her absence, her lingering scent. The quiet routine of settling her estate became a meditation on loss. I found a strange, unexpected solace in the piano, more than just an instrument, a quiet communion with her fading memory, a way to feel close to her, to keep her essence alive, vibrating in the air. My own fingers, still somewhat tentative, clumsily attempted to replicate her elusive melody, searching for the exact cadence, the perfect nuance, the subtle shifts in rhythm, tracing the familiar, worn patterns she'd made on the ivory, hoping to touch a piece of her essence through the music, to capture her spirit, to channel her. One quiet afternoon, lost in this private ritual, as I was mindlessly running my hand along the underside of the keyboard, cleaning the forgotten dust that had accumulated over years, a subtle irregularity caught my attention. My fingers brushed against a loose piece of wood, a tiny, almost imperceptible anomaly that instantly piqued my interest, a flicker of curiosity in the vast expanse of my grief. It was a cleverly disguised compartment, almost perfectly hidden within the piano's old, intricate frame, seamlessly integrated into the craftsmanship, barely noticeable to the casual observer unless you knew exactly where to look. A secret nestled within a secret, waiting patiently, silently to be found. My heart pounded with a sudden, unexpected thrill, a jolt of pure adrenaline that cut sharply through my lingering grief, momentarily eclipsing the pain. As I carefully, almost reverently, with bated breath, my hands trembling slightly with anticipation, pried it open with a gentle tug. Inside, nestled amongst mothballed velvet that still carried a faint, sweet, deeply nostalgic scent of lavender and old paper, a fragrance that transported me back in time, were a stack of brittle, yellowed letters, tied with a faded, delicate ribbon, its color barely discernible, almost dissolved by time and age. Beside them, a single, fragile sheet of music, handwritten, in her elegant, distinctive script that I knew so well from her recipe cards, and the birthday notes she'd meticulously penned, unmistakably hers. The title, stark and profoundly poignant against the aged paper, read My Dearest Arthur, and the name alone sent a jolt, sharp and electric, through my entire being, igniting a flicker of recognition, a sense of something profound and long hidden that had waited patiently for decades to be brought to light. The mood shifted dramatically, abruptly, from quiet contemplation and sorrow to a dawning, intense intrigue. A flicker of excitement mixed with a strange, almost unsettling trepidation about what profound truths I was about to uncover, what emotional depths lay within these fragile relics of a bygone era. This wasn't just an old tune, I realized with a sudden, sharp gasp, my breath catching in my throat. It was a profound testament, a forgotten piece of her very soul, a cry from the past, waiting patiently to be found and finally understood, a voice from the grave, reaching out to me from beyond the veil. I imagined her, so much younger, so incredibly vibrant, her spirit unburdened by the weight of years, her fingers dancing on these very keys for him, pouring her heart, her very essence, her boundless love, into every single note. A silent, powerful declaration of devotion resonating through time and space. A melody of pure emotion, a fleeting glimpse of happiness. Part 3, Arthur's Voice, a symphony of forbidden love. The first letter was dated 1948, its ink faded by time, its edges brittle, crumbling slightly to the touch, a fragile link to a distant past, yet its passion undimmed, vibrant and alive across the decades that separated us from their youthful romance, a flame that still burned fiercely within those brittle pages. Arthur's words flowed with a youthful intensity, an almost poetic lyricism, painting a vivid, almost cinematic picture of stolen glances in sun-dappled gardens, of hushed promises exchanged under moonlit skies, promises whispered on the soft, conspiratorial breeze that carried their hopeful, innocent dreams, dreams of a shared future stretching out endlessly before them. My dearest Elinor, one particularly passionate letter read, its words burning with raw affection, a desperate longing that transcended the paper itself, a plea echoing across time. Every note you play on that piano sings of our future, a future I long to share with you, free from all constraints, unbound by the mundane expectations of others, a life purely our own, built on the foundation of our unwavering love, our unbreakable bond. I could almost hear his voice, vibrant and full of unshakable hope, resonating with a timeless longing, echoing across the decades, filling the silent room with a phantom presence, a beautiful, aching ghost of love that refused to fade, a spirit hovering near, whispering its story. The music sheet was indeed the very melody Grandma had played countless times, a familiar comfort, a lullaby of sorrow, but here, in his passionate hand, it was titled, simply and beautifully, Arthur's Serenade, a true dedication, a song crafted just for her, a secret shared between two souls, a testament to their profound bond, their private universe. My grandmother, so reserved and seemingly content in her later years, a pillar of quiet strength, her emotions carefully guarded, a fortress built around her heart, had once known a love so profound, so utterly consuming, that it echoed in every chord she played, a silent, daily tribute to a cherished memory, a sacred ritual performed day after day, year after year, a haunting echo of what was lost, what could have been. This section moved seamlessly from intrigue to a bittersweet tenderness, an unfolding of a deeply romantic, almost poetic history that felt both distant in time and intimately, heartbreakingly personal, touching a chord deep within my own soul, reverberating with echoes of love and loss, a symphony of emotions that swelled within me. The pure, unadulterated joy radiating from his words, from his vision of their shared future, from the dreams he painted so vividly, felt almost unbearable, a sharp pain in my chest, knowing what dark twists their story was inevitably about to take, a tragic premonition that settled heavily in the air, chilling me despite the warmth of the blossoming story on the page, like a cold hand on my heart. I saw her then, not just as my wise, elderly grandma, her hair silver and her movements slow, her life seemingly quiet and unassuming, but as a young woman deeply, irrevocably in love, her entire world alight with the thrilling, boundless possibilities of shared dreams, a future she never got to live, a promise cruelly, irrevocably unfulfilled, snatched away too soon by forces beyond her control, leaving only echoes. Part 4, The Iron Fist of Duty, a Love Crushed. The tone of the letters shifted, subtly at first, a creeping unease, a faint, discordant note slowly entering their symphony, an ominous undertone that foreshadowed disaster. Then dramatically, with a crushing finality that stole my breath and left me gasping in silent shock, a tangible weight pressing down on my chest. Arthur's words became more desperate, tinged with urgency, pleading for understanding, for a way out, for a miracle that would never come, his pleas echoing his growing despair, his hopes slowly eroding into bitter resignation, the light dimming in his soul. Your family's insistence chills me, my love. Their demands are like ice, freezing my very soul, turning my blood to frost, stifling my every breath. Must duty truly overshadow destiny, tearing us apart with such cruel indifference, such cold, calculated precision? He wrote in one, his raw desperation palpable, his anguish radiating from the fragile paper, a silent scream of a breaking heart reaching out across the years, a desperate, final plea for salvation. Then, a new, chilling discovery unfolded amongst the stack. A stark, formal letter from my great-grandfather, stern and unyielding. His words like cold steel, cutting through any lingering hope, addressed directly to Arthur, explicitly forbidding their union in no uncertain terms. A brutal, undeniable decree that left no room for negotiation, no appeal, no mercy, just absolute power. It spoke coldly of family honor, of crucial financial alliances that must be secured at any cost, of a predetermined future for a leaner that left absolutely no room for personal desires, no space for love, no voice for her own heart's longing, her own will, reducing her to a mere pawn in a larger game. The mood here darkened considerably, profoundly, a deep sense of foreboding creeping in, a cold shadow enveloping the room, chilling the very air, making my skin prickle with an undeniable dread, a presentiment of irreversible loss. The fragile joy of discovery instantly evaporated, replaced by an icy dread that settled deep in my bones, chilling me to the core, a premonition of tragedy, of lives irrevocably scarred, a future irrevocably altered. I felt a surge of incandescent anger, a burning rage that ignited within me. For the young lovers, their innocent dreams so callously disregarded, their happiness systematically sacrificed on the altar of status and tradition. A devastating, unforgivable injustice that boiled within me, threatening to erupt, to shatter the quiet of the room. This wasn't just a suggestion, I realized with a sickening lurch, a sudden, terrible clarity. It was an ultimatum, brutal in its cold, unfeeling finality, ripping apart two souls with surgical precision, leaving raw, open wounds that would never truly heal, wounds passed down through generations. My great-grandfather's words were devoid of empathy, utterly focused on lineage and legacy, crushing Aliner's burgeoning happiness under the immense, unyielding weight of tradition and societal expectation. A tyrannical force that brooked no dissent, no mercy, no shred of humanity. The injustice of it burned within me, a quiet fury for the lives dictated by others, for the dreams systematically dismantled, leaving only fragments of what might have been, forever echoing in their wake, a haunting, mournful silence that spoke volumes of lost potential, of vibrant futures stolen. Part 5, The Silent Anguish, a broken melody within. The final letter from Arthur was unsent, crumpled, and tear-stained, the ink smudged by what could only have been desperate, bitter tears, soaking through the paper, a poignant, heart-wrenching testament to a love shattered beyond repair, its last words unread by their intended recipient, a final farewell caught in time, suspended in eternal sorrow and longing. Eliner, my heart aches to write this. They have succeeded. The family's will is unbreakable, their power absolute, their victory complete. I leave for America tomorrow, unable to defy your family's will, unable to fight against such insurmountable odds, my love. My love, may this melody forever remind you of what we shared, of the love that was forbidden and fiercely true, even if we can never be together again in this life, in any life, a bond that transcends separation, eternal in its heartbreak. My gaze fell upon the sheet music again, a heavy weight in my trembling hands, now seeing it through the lens of their profound tragedy. Every note a tear, every rest a sigh of despair, a musical representation of a shattered dream, a life unlived. There, at the very end, were a few measures hastily crossed out, scribbled over with a jarring, almost violent, dissonant chord, a harsh, musical scream of despair that cut through the silence, echoing the pain in my own chest, a sympathetic ache that resonated with her past, a shared burden of sorrow. It was the exact discordant note she would sometimes play, almost imperceptibly, a fleeting error before quickly correcting herself, a silent flinch, a reflex of deep, ingrained pain, a habit born of anguish repeated over countless years, a hidden wound constantly touched, a never-healing scar. It was a raw, visceral cry of anguish, a single, heartbreaking scream embedded permanently in her song, a secret agony she carried for a lifetime, hidden in plain sight, revealed only to those who truly listened with their hearts, to those who understood silence. The mood plunged into profound sadness, an overwhelming sense of loss and injustice washing over me, leaving me breathless, gasping for air in the suffocating weight of it all. A grief that was not my own, yet felt intensely personal, shared across generations, a burden transferred from her soul to mine. I could almost feel her despair, hear her silent screams, echoing through the decades, resonating deeply with my own heartache, an inherited sorrow that now made perfect, agonizing sense, completing a tragic puzzle of a life lived with quiet pain and endless sacrifice. The weight of her sacrifice, the sheer, crushing burden of giving up the person she loved most for the sake of her family's relentless demands, settled heavily on my chest, a physical ache that would not dissipate, a constant, nagging reminder of her silent, unending suffering, a cross she bore alone, a secret agony. "Grandma," I whispered, my voice thick with emotion, barely audible, a mournful whisper lost in the quiet room. "You endured so much, more than any of us ever knew, more than anyone should have to bear in a lifetime of quiet misery and unspoken heartbreak." Her entire life, shaped and fundamentally altered by this one, irreversible moment of profound loss, stretched out before me, suddenly imbued with a tragic, profound meaning, a silent epic of endurance, a hidden saga of resilience and heartbreaking sacrifice, revealed in a crumpled, tear-stained letter. Part 6, Whispers of the Past, A Mother's Confirmation. That evening, unable to process the overwhelming revelations alone, the weight of the past pressing down on me, threatening to crush me under its immense, suffocating burden, I instinctively called my mother, needing to share this seismic shift in our family's history, this shattering truth that had just come to light, demanding to be acknowledged. My voice, usually steady and calm, was trembling, almost raw, as I recounted my discovery, the full, devastating weight of the story almost too much to bear without completely breaking down, needing validation, needing a shared understanding. There was a long, heavy silence on the other end of the line, a pause pregnant with generations of unspoken pain, a shared breath held for decades, finally exhaled, a collective sigh of grief and understanding that transcended mere words, a deep, knowing sorrow passing between us. "Oh, my poor mother," she finally said, her voice thick with emotion, a profound sadness, tinged with a deep, newfound understanding that had been missing for so long. A realization dawning that changed everything we thought we knew about our family's past, casting old memories in a new, tragic light. She never spoke of it, not a single word, not even to me, her own daughter, her supposed confidant. She buried it so deep, so completely, for so long, carrying it all alone, silently, a secret she took to her grave, protecting us from her pain. My mother then explained, her voice tinged with a dawning sorrow of her own, how her own grandmother, my great-grandmother, was indeed a formidable woman, unyielding and unwavering in her commitment to what she believed was best for the family's social standing and future, a matriarch of iron will and unbending resolve, whose decisions were absolute law, unquestionable. She arranged your grandmother's marriage to your grandfather for family reasons. For position, for security, for duty, not love. It was a calculated decision, a cold, hard bargain struck for lineage and wealth, for the family name. Elinor never truly loved him, not in the way she loved Arthur. It was a duty, a lifelong obligation, a heavy cross she carried with quiet dignity, never complaining, never revealing her true heartbreak, never breaking. The revelation hung in the air between us, heavy and heartbreaking, filling the space with the ghosts of past decisions, of lives irrevocably altered by choices made long ago, their echoes reverberating through time, demanding to be heard and acknowledged, their pain finally felt. The mood was raw, a poignant mix of sorrow and a shocking, newfound clarity, an understanding that finally replaced vague feelings and unspoken questions, bringing everything into sharp, painful focus, making perfect sense of a lifetime of subtle signs and quiet resignation. It was a brutal truth, finally laid bare, explaining so much about Grandma's quiet melancholy, the subtle sadness that had always clung to her like a shadow, a constant, gentle companion throughout her days, now perfectly understood and mourned, a profound, delayed recognition of her silent suffering. I realized the quiet sadness I'd always sensed in Grandma wasn't resignation, not truly, but a lifelong carrying of this profound grief, a silent testament to a love denied, a life reimagined through sacrifice, a silent battle fought daily, unseen by the world, known only to her heart and now to ours. My mother's voice, now tinged with regret and a profound sense of empathy for her own mother, spoke of the immense weight of family expectations and the stifling conventions of their era, illuminating the invisible chains that had bound Grandma throughout her life, unseen by us, until this very moment of brutal, honest truth, unveiled at last, a legacy of silent pain. Part 7, The Unburdening of a Song, a Legacy Freed. I sat at the piano once more, the letters and the diary spread out beside me, their brittle pages a testament to her enduring pain, to a life lived with quiet courage, a silent strength that defied understanding, a profound human spirit. But this time, the melody wasn't just a sad tune. It was a living narrative, a profound tragedy, and ultimately, a powerful testament to a strength I had never fully appreciated. A quiet heroism finally brought to light, radiating from the very notes, transforming their meaning forever. I played it, tears streaming down my face, not for sorrow, not purely, but for the exquisite beauty of a truth finally revealed, a long-hidden song now set free, soaring into the air, liberated after decades of silence, finding its true voice, its true purpose. This time I played the true ending, the one Arthur had intended, the full, harmonious conclusion, the one before the family's brutal intervention had silenced it, had broken its heart, had stolen its harmony, leaving only a fragmented echo of what could have been a bittersweet dream. The jarring, dissonant chord, the bitter note of anguish, was replaced by a resolution, a hopeful, soaring note, a melodic sigh of relief that filled the room, washing away the decades of sorrow, cleansing the very soul of the space, releasing its trapped history, its ancient pains. The air in the room felt lighter, cleaner, imbued with a new kind of peace, a quiet serenity that settled deep within my being, as if a long-held breath had finally been released, a decades-long weight lifted from the very foundation of the house, from our family's spirit, from Grandma's soul, finding ultimate rest and solace. The mood transitioned beautifully, organically, from deep, aching sorrow to a sense of profound catharsis, a release of accumulated pain, leading towards acceptance and a quiet, enduring peace that settled over me, a feeling of rightness, of cosmic justice finally served, a cycle completed, a wound healed. My grandmother's sacrifice, her silent suffering, now had a a glorious, sorrowful, but ultimately redemptive voice that soared through the old house, embracing every corner, touching every surface, echoing her true spirit, her unbound love, her enduring legacy for all to hear. It was as if Grandma herself was finally free, her spirit soaring with the music, unburdened by the secrets of the past, dancing in the sunbeams that streamed through the window, finally, utterly at peace, reunited with her true melody, her true love in a realm beyond our sight, beyond our understanding. The piano, once a repository of hidden sorrow, a silent keeper of pain, now sang of enduring love and the quiet, powerful triumph of truth revealed, a legacy finally brought to light, its melody forever changed, forever whole, forever vibrant, a beacon across time, guiding us forward. This was more than just a melody. It was a legacy, a profound connection across time and loss, cementing her story, her love, and her strength in our hearts forever. A melody that would never again be untold, a secret whispered from the past into the future, a gift to all who would listen, a timeless echo. The resolution and reflection. Uncovering Grandma Elara's story didn't change her past. No, that remained fixed in time, etched in the annals of history. But it brought a profound sense of peace to our family, and especially to me, a closure we never knew we desperately needed, a healing balm for old wounds that had festered silently for generations. The melody, once a secret burden, a silent cry, was now an open book, its true ending finally heard, sung with the emotion it deserved. A powerful, resonant anthem echoing through the generations, liberating her spirit from its earthly bonds. There was a quiet, deep justice in finally understanding her silent suffering, in giving voice to her unspoken pain, allowing her story to finally breathe and be acknowledged, to be honored, to be truly seen for the sacrifice it entailed. The house no longer felt hollow. It felt full of her story, cherished and honored, a place where truth finally resided, vibrant and clear for all to feel and understand, a living testament to her extraordinary life. For me, her grandson, it was more than just discovery. It was a release, a profound transformation, a deepening of my understanding of love and sacrifice, of the human spirit's incredible resilience in the face of adversity, of true strength. The inheritance wasn't money or possessions, not tangible things I could hold or spend, but the profound understanding of her strength, her immense capacity for enduring love, and the quiet dignity with which she carried her heartbreak throughout her entire life. It taught me that sometimes the greatest legacies are not what's materially given, not the things we can touch, but what's emotionally revealed, the truths that finally set us free, echoing through eternity, changing our perception of those we thought we knew, of history itself, of our own potential. The piano's untold melody reminds us that every person carries a universe of untold stories within them, of loves lost and sacrifices made, of dreams nurtured and sometimes, tragically, abandoned in silence, waiting patiently for someone to listen, to uncover their hidden truths, to give them a voice. Listen closely, for sometimes the most profound truths are hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to finally play their true chord, to bring their silent song to light and let it resonate for all time, unburdened and free, a beacon of truth for generations to come. Thank you so much for joining me on this deeply emotional journey, A7. If this story resonated with you, if it touched a chord in your own heart, please give it a like, share it with someone who appreciates a good mystery and a heartfelt narrative, and let me know in the comments what